So I'll have to admit, that's the most fun I've ever had making a thumbnail. All right, off to our regularly scheduled program. If you work with a lot of agentic coding CLI tools, you probably have a lot of sessions going and a lot of open tabs, at least I do. Sometimes it's hard to stay on top of which ones are done, which ones need my attention, and you've probably been there, done that. So in this video, I'm going to walk through a newer tool that I came across called Herdr, which actually solves this pretty well. So let's dive right in. So getting started with Herdr is super easy. You can go to herdr.dev, that's Herdr, kind of clever. And it does sort of what the name says. In fact, you'll see the little logo up here. I think of it actually as herding cats, but yeah, it could be cattle or something like that, I suppose. However you want to think of your agents, you know. But one terminal, the whole herd, and to kind of sum it up, they have a nice little demo over here. You have workspaces. Think of that as just your main projects you're working on. And then in each workspace, notice there's different tabs up here. Well, just like when you have a project, you have multiple tabs, right? The nice thing here, though, is it groups all those together. But here's the killer feature. In each workspace, notice as I click on it, it'll jump down to all my agents that are running across projects, by the way. So notice up in the Herdr one, it looks like I have this guy and these top two. LLM proxy, okay, that's that one. Notice it says blocked. These others, well, that one's completed. That one's still running. QMP, that jumps down to that session. So it just groups everything together really nicely. Super cool. And if you're a hotkey person, it supports that. If you use the mouse, it supports that. You can run it up on, like, I have a VPS up in the cloud I use a lot for especially remote coding. I'd use Telegram like all the time. You can actually do all that too, and even has mobile features. So it doesn't have a mobile app, by the way, but the mobile, when you access it through an SSH client, is responsive. I'll show you that real quick. So scrolling on down, really easy to get installed. Just follow what they show here. It literally took me, I don't know, 15 seconds, something like that. Pretty quick. And then it runs on your machine. Like I said, I have a VPS, so I can run it up there as well. But the killer feature is normally when I disconnect from something and then go back, I have to reorganize everything. This remembers where you left off. And so if you had, Copilot, Claude, Codex, OpenCode, whatever you're using, then it would automatically track all that for you. That's, I think, the killer feature. Now, as mentioned on mobile, it's responsive. So if you SSH in with whatever client you like, it'll automatically kind of adapt responsively, which is really nice. And then they even have plugins. I haven't tried these yet, to be honest, but if you have, leave a comment. Let me know if there's a favorite plugin you've tried or anything you like about Herdr if you're using it. So with that, let me jump on over, and I'm already in it. Now, I'll tell you what, let me actually go out. So I'm going to do Control B and then Q, and then we'll just start from scratch here. So I'm going to do Herdr. And then there's also a whole command line here, by the way. All kinds of stuff. You can set up your tabs, your workspaces, and you can even automate this from another agent to set it up if you wanted. I was actually thinking I might do something like that. But there's an update. So like Herdr update I just ran earlier to make sure I had the latest version. Those type of things. All right, so let's launch it. And you'll notice that it remembered, and this is why I had it loaded up to start, it remembered the two projects that I loaded up a little bit earlier. Now, notice I don't have any tabs going yet. So in this first one, let me start up my go-to, and that's Copilot CLI. Has a fantastic harness and model choice if you haven't tried it. And then you can right-click, and I'm just using the mouse here. There's also hotkeys, but rename, and let me call it what it is. Copilot CLI. Let's start up another one here. Let's call this Claude Code. And let me launch Claude with a little special way I launch it. All right. And this should make it so that we're right in there and we're good to go. I also have Codex. So let's start up Codex on here. Give it a sec, and Codex. Now, you might wonder, why do I have all three? I even have more than this, but why, do all three? I do what I call cross-harness reviews all the time. I'll be in the same project, but I'll have Codex review, Claude review, Copilot CLI review, and then I even have like Hermes, and it'll do a review. And what'll happen there is it'll automatically do its review, but then I'll get consensus across those. And that way I can kind of get the best of all the worlds. And a lot of times I'll find edge cases that I wouldn't have found, had I not done this. Now I could do the same thing here, but you get the idea. But notice down here, now that I have those 3 started up, I can actually click down here and it says right now, they're completed because they're not doing anything. Now, normally, let's say I do a code review. I don't have any PRs or uncommitted changes, I don't think, in this project. So I'm going to do, review Tari code and ensure it's good. Horrible review, but you get the idea. All right. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Review the Tari, because I'm using Tari Rust code for this one. Code, and then we'll do the same in Codex. The Tari code. All right, just to simulate, this thing running here. And then notice over here on the left, in fact, I don't know why this one's already done. I might have already hit my limit. Oh, it needs a newer version of Codex. Okay. Well, I haven't updated that one in a little while, but anyway, we'll do it on these 2. So while these 2 are running, notice this one, it said it thought it was done. But these 2 are still running. I can now jump over to here and start up whatever, sessions I want. But what's so great about this, I'm just going to exit Ghosty here. And there's another project I'm working on with GitHub Copilot app, actually. But let's go back. Let me zoom this in a little bit and let's start it up again. And look at that. I'm right where I left off, which is super cool. So here we are. Notice this one went red because now it's asking me to commit. Do I want to do a cargo check? We'll say, yeah. I didn't start that one in YOLO mode. I usually do in this case, but I didn't. And this one's still running. So how cool is that? Like you could just, start up a new Herdr and you're right back where you were and you don't have to reorganize everything like normal. Let's SSH in, once this loads here, to my VM. All right. So we'll SSH into this one. And then what I'm going to do here is run Herdr. Same thing. Now, I could do the same exact thing, but now I'm actually on my remote machine. And so if you're on mobile, it would be just like this, except for it'd be responsive. Now, I haven't started using it here yet. In fact, I just got a notification. I heard it. Something must... oh, okay. It wants more. Yeah, this is why I'd normally launch that in YOLO mode, because it's just a review. But all right, this one's done. There we go. It caught some things I could probably fix. This one's still running. So you get the idea. And then, if I had something running up here on my VPS with Herdr, I could do that. So that is Herdr. There's a lot more it does. I'm not doing the whole thing justice. Go check out one of those other videos that were on the webpage because they go a little deeper. But I think it's just super cool how you can, herd the AI cats, if you will. So check it out, herdr.dev.